Hey, this is the Tenjin folder. I wanted to walk you through this one before you got started. Here's the learning targets at the top. These are basically everything you're going to need to prove that you already know when you're done. So let's take a look at those actually. It says utilize timelines to identify and discuss American history time periods. Identify and explain significant events leading up to the American Revolution. Just from these two, you understand you're going to be hearing about stuff that happened leading to the American Revolution, and then you're going to have to turn in a timeline of that stuff. Easy. Number 3 and 4 are language arts grades. It says explain the relationships or interactions between two or more individuals, events, ideas, or concepts in a historical, scientific, or technical text based on specific information in the text. So you're taking all the stuff that led up to the American Revolution and you're explaining your interactions and the stuff that happened based on the stuff that you read. Language arts. Pose and respond to specific questions by making comments that contribute to the discussion and elaborate on the remarks of others. This one has to do with the discussion board that you're going to have to do later on. So that will be both a social studies grade and a language arts grade. Let's get started. Remember, to get into it, I like to right-click it and open link in a new tab. The tab comes up here. You've got your first page. Your first page tells you about the project. Your project is a timeline. You can watch the video. You can also get to the resources. The resources are right here. Right-click, open link in a new tab. Let's look at the resources. Resources for the Tenjin Grows project. Click here to see how to make a PowerPoint. So basically, you have to make either a craft, an arts and crafts PowerPoint, or you have to make a timeline, or rather a PowerPoint of a timeline. So let's open up some of the resources down here. You've got your notes. You've got a template of a timeline on PowerPoint, and then you also have your rubric. Rubrics will help you get a good grade. Let's take a look at your notes real quick. The notes are pretty easy. You've got a column for date, a column for the event, what was it, and then information that happened. If you need to make more lines, you could actually copy this slide. Put your cursor here, it starts blinking, clicking with my left side, right click, and then paste, and you've got a whole new slide to make notes on. Click. Let's minimize this for right now. Let's take a look at your rubric. Your rubric looks like this. It says you have to prove all this stuff, which we've already read, by making an electronic or an arts and crafts timeline. The things you're going to get graded on. Quantity of the facts. The timeline must contain 5 events. If you have more than 5 events, you get a 4. If you have at least 5 events, you get a 3. The chapter has to do with more than 5, so don't worry about that. Sequence. You have to put the events in order. Accuracy. You have to make sure that what you write in your project is correct and accurate. But if it's copied and pasted, you will get a 0. So don't do that. I have search programs that find where you copied and pasted them from, so just don't do that, because then you end up doing your project twice. Images, all the images make sense. You don't have something weird in your project that doesn't match with what you're talking about. Fluency of your sentences, events are clearly described using accurate and vivid language. Mechanics, you have all good punctuation, spelling, capitalization, you know how to write, basically. That's how you get this social studies grade. You get a separate grade on the language arts standard. Explain the relationships or interactions between 2 or more individuals, events, ideas, or concepts in historical text. That's what you get your grade on there. That'll be 10 points, and it'll go in the language arts grade. Last but not least, let's look at the template real quick before we look at the chapter. I made a timeline template on PowerPoint, so you don't have to just invent it yourself. What you would do is you'd come in here and you would delete this and put the name of what you're talking about. So let's say you're going to start with the Stamp Act. I haven't looked up if that's the first one in the time sequence, so don't take my word for it. You write the title of the slide here. Be sure to include what happened, be sure to include who was involved, and be sure to include the year it happened. So this could look two different ways. You could delete my sentence and on this top bullet write, this happened like this, and explain with lots of good, vivid language. On the next one, it says include who was involved. Prince, Parodi, and were involved. And then on the last one, you write the year. The Stamp Act happened in 1922. These are not correct. You could do it like that, or you could delete the whole thing and just write one paragraph like this. In 1922, Prince Parodi was involved in a big fight, and give 2 or 3 sentences of information that cover the fact that you know who was involved, the year it happened, and what happened, basically. It's up to you how you want to do it. Remember, you put an image down here. You can either delete all of this, or you could put an image on top of it. It doesn't matter. It shows up the same way. And then you just do the same thing for the next events. So you can make your own timeline with your own PowerPoint, or your own arts and craft timeline, or you just edit mine. That's up to you. So that's how you're going to get your grade. Let's go ahead and take a look at the reading real quick. Here's the reading. Some have questions. Remember, if you do have questions, you use your notes. I gave you notes to take. Write down the event, write down what happened, write down the year, and then you will do fine on your questions. It's not a big deal. See, here's a question right here. Look at the illustration below. Which illustration is similar to this historical event up here? All right, and it has like a mom and a kid, and it has a babysitter involved. It says, don't argue with your babysitter. Go to your room immediately. She can't make me drink this milk. So there's different fights in each picture. You need to pay me $1 if you're going to use the phone. So the babysitter, I think, wants him to pay $1. Why should I have to act like the babysitter's servant? I built this fence for your own safety. Please don't leave the yard. You'll stay in your room until you pay for all the milk that you poured down the sink. So these are different fights between like either a mom and a kid, or a kid and a babysitter, and it's similar to how the colonists were fighting with Britain at the time. And you have to pick which one you think reminds you of this historical event up here, and then write about it down here. I think it's kind of like the fence situation, because I think it's kind of like the little girl putting the milk down the sink, because. So as long as you use the word because and justify your answer, you should get all your points there. There's more questions in these sections of reading, so be careful and make sure you take notes. You've already seen your resources. Remember, to get into here, you right-click and click Open in a new tab. This is the review game. The review game, you will type in your Odyssey login and your Odyssey password to get in. If you have trouble and it doesn't let you in, let me know, because I can help. Click Login here. It logs in a new tab. You go back to where you were, and then you click Open Game here, and it'll open the game in a whole new window. Please use your notes for this. It should come right from your notes. Let's see, is there anything else I need to show you? I do. Here's a discussion board. I don't think you've done those yet. I'm right-clicking, I'm opening in a new tab. The discussion board says this. Of all the events you read about, which event was the most terrible, horrible? Which one do you feel was the biggest cause of the American Revolution? Provide 2 reasons to prove your answer. To get a grade on this assignment, you must reply to another person's post after you've posted your own response. So I put my response down here in case when you get here nobody's posted anything yet. You have to click on the thing where it will say add a discussion, I believe, and then it'll let you write your opinion. You could say the Stamp Act, you could say the Boston Tea Party, but you also have to tell 2 reasons why you picked it. But then as soon as you're done and you've posted it, click someone else's post and reply to them. I feel the Stamp Act was the event that truly led to the American Revolution, You can read it later. But that is part of your grade to know that you're done, is you've posted your own response and you've also replied to someone else's response. Finally, the last thing you have to do is turn in your timeline. It says right here, after you complete your project, click the Add Submission button below. Submit a picture of your timeline if your project is an arts and crafts project. And if you have to send your project via the county mail, you can do that. Remember, I talked about that in the last folder. You can go to the closest school to your house, write your name on your project, obviously, but then they can stick a little note on it and say, to Tracy Perotti at Atlantic High School, Volusia Online Learning. And Volusia County Schools has their own mail system where they will deliver it for you. So once you turn in your timeline, you could either do it here, let's say it's PowerPoint, also turn in a picture of your timeline here just so I know you're done. Then also mail your PowerPoint using Volusia County Schools. I hope that helped. If you have any questions, please, 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 please message me. There's ways to message up here. Remember, you can start a Hangout if you're logged into Gmail. You could call me using this button. And also, you could text me as long as you put your name in here and I know who you are. Let me know. I hope that helped.